Shooters are a huge part of the gaming industry, and every single year people argue about what was the best of the best. Well, today we're going to be doing a list of the best FPS game of every single year from the year 2000 all the way to right now. Thank you for all the love on Chaos Gaming. On the YouTube side, we are getting close to 30,000 subscribers. On the Facebook side, we're on our way to 200,000 likes. Absolutely amazing. Thank you so much, guys. Do me a favor, make sure you have your notifications on, whatever platform that may be. Turn those on so you don't miss a video. So we're going to start off in 2000, and we're going to go all the way to 2021. The best FPS offering of every single year. Let's get it going. So let's kick it off with the year 2000, Y2K. Counter-Strike 1.6. Yep. One of the most influential multiplayer shooters of all time. It started off as a mod for Half-Life, but in 2000, we got the first standalone version, CS 1.6. The game exploded in popularity with both casual and competitive players. It was easy. It was easy to understand, but extremely difficult to master. It was easy to set up. You could play it on pretty much any computer. It changed multiplayer shooters forever. I don't think there's honestly going to be any debate over giving it the top spot of the year 2000. Now we move to 2001. Halo Combat Evolved. Another no-brainer. Halo dropped as a launch title for the original Xbox. It had a massive impact that we are still experiencing now. It not only proved that FPS games have a home on console, but it also changed the way we look at FPS level design and storytelling. It was a sensation, and many still consider it to be one of the best shooters ever made. And that was 20 years ago, people. 2002. Metroid Prime. Now let's move a game from 2D to 3D, right? That's hard. But Metroid Prime did it. It was one of the best games to ever do it. It took the exploration and item hunting of the 2D hits, and it translated it perfectly to a first-person perspective, as well as giving us some awesome shooting and one of the best Nintendo soundtracks we've ever had. Hopefully, it's not much longer until we get Prime 4. 2003. Does anybody remember 2003? Rainbow Six 3 Raven Shield. Now, Rainbow Six was one of the leading names in tactical shooters back in the early 2000s, and Rainbow Six 3 was a huge milestone for the series. It took the foundation of the series, as well as some newer FPS elements from games like Counter-Strike, and they wanted to make an amazing experience that some still call the best in the series. You had intense gameplay, you had deep mechanics, and you had some of the best graphics of that time. It was an excellent game, and it solidified that franchise as a top dog in the FPS world. You want to talk about top dogs? 2004. Half-Life 2. One of the most, if not most, hyped sequels ever. It took the foundation of the first game and somehow managed to outdo it. It did. The gameplay was smoother, the dialogue was tighter, the presentation was amazing, the physics were some of the best in gaming history. It also showed us the power of the Source engine, which is still in use to this day by tons of developers. Half-Life 2 is one of the best shooters of all time, and it's certainly the best FPS of 2004. 2005, I loved this game. Fear. I mean, perhaps the best horse shooter ever made. Fear had you playing as a squad of soldiers trying to contain the paranormal threat. Well, you can probably guess how that goes down. Fear was acclaimed for its atmosphere and gameplay, as well as its graphics and AI, and even by 2021 standards, it's incredible. It makes the game even more terrifying. I'm hoping we eventually get a full remake of this game because it's absolutely amazing, and with a fresh coat of paint, this could be one of the scariest games ever made. 2006. I'll give you 3 guesses. 1, 2, 3. Rainbow Six Vegas. Now, after the transition to the 360 and the PS3, Ubisoft knew they needed to impress us, and they blew us out of the water with Vegas. Vegas took the gameplay of the series, but it added more features and mechanics, and you got reworks, the health, the new HUD elements, tons of new elements, commands for your squads. It was praised for its gameplay, the immersion, the technical aspects, which were some of the best on those new consoles. And today, the level design and the gameplay of Vegas still hold up. If you want to experience what Rainbow Six was before Siege, 2006 is where it starts. 2007. I mean, some would call this a legacy game. Call of Duty 4. The game that changed military shooters forever. It was a massive step forward for the COD franchise, and its influence can still be felt all over the FPS genre in 2021. COD 4 not only had a fantastic campaign with tons of blockbuster moments, It also had a very unique multiplayer that featured a super fast-paced, it was fast, amazing design, kill streaks, perks, camo challenges. That's all expected now in a COD title and most first-person shooters in general. COD 4 changed everything. It was definitely the best FPS of 2007. Now we arrive at 2008. Left 4 Dead. Now in the mid-2000s, games were starting to get very dark and serious. Games like Gears of War, COD 4, they made a lot of publishers think grim and serious were the only options for shooters. But then along came Left 4 Dead, and it reminded us to have fun. This co-op zombie shooter was super fast-paced and completely committed to the fun factor. Had fun characters, fun witty dialogue, over-the-top action, lots of zombie gore. It was a smash hit. And then less than 12 months later, 2009, yes, we've got a back-to-back, my friends. Left 4 Dead 2. I mean, that's how you do a sequel. Despite being developed in less than a year, it was an improvement over the original game in every possible way. More levels, more weapons, more mechanics, better graphics, smoother gameplay, extensive mod support, so the community could go nuts. And basically, you could do whatever they wanted to. It was even bigger as a hit than the first game, and it still has a huge community on PC thanks to that mod support. It has to be one of the best and most heavily modded games ever, and it's probably never going to die. Now we roll into 2010. Halo Reach. It did cause a bit of fuss when it was released due to how much it changed the core gameplay of the series, but despite its changes, most people absolutely adored it. Not only did Reach tell a very unique and mature story in its campaign, but it also had a giant multiplayer mode that brought back most of the elements from the original trilogy, as well as some new weapons, some new vehicles. It also had the expansive custom game settings and a great Forge mode. It allowed you to make your own maps and share with everybody. It was fantastic, and while it may not be your favorite Halo title, I think it's the best FPS game of 2010. 2011. Battlefield 3. Now, everyone has their own favorite Battlefield game, but BF3 is definitely upper tier. Released in October of 2011, it had a solid campaign and an absolutely amazing multiplayer mode. You got weapons, you got maps, gigantic battles. You simply couldn't get anywhere else at that time. It helped solidify the Battlefield formula that we all know and we all love. And with BF6 right around the corner, let's hope EA and DICE can bring us back to the glory days. 2012, we're getting through this. CSGO. It was a faithful update of the original game's mechanics while also adding tons of new features and content. It's arguably the best in the entire series. I mean, you tell me. It added new maps, skins, game modes, a custom game potential. It gave it endless replay value, which we see now. I mean, plus, Valve made it free to play a few years after release, and now it's perhaps the most content-rich free-to-play game in the world. It isn't going anywhere, at least not until the next Counter-Strike game comes out, which should be coming out in 2035 or so. 2013. Arma 3. I don't know why I said it like that. It's a really tough one. 2013 had a lot of great shooters, but if I had to choose one, it would have to be Arma 3. This was one of the most detailed games ever at the time, and it holds up today. It's a military simulator. You complete various missions on these gigantic open-world maps, all with incredibly deep gameplay and photorealistic landscapes. Arma 3 is still one of the most played games on Steam over 7 years after release. It's definitely one of the best PC exclusives on the market today. 2014. Wolfenstein: The New Order. Now, this is one of the longest running FPS franchises ever, but The New Order is often considered to be the best. You let me know if you agree. Full series reboot, had you playing as an American soldier, wakes up from a coma, finds himself in a world where Germany won World War II, and it's now up to you to build the resistance and fight back. The New Order blended old school level design with new school shooting and stealth mechanics to make this super unique experience, also all while telling an extremely written story about a depressing new world. The sequels? They've been hit or miss, but The New Order, 2014, best of the year? Absolutely. 2015, Rainbow Six Siege. Now, Siege certainly had a rough start, but it has since grown into one of the biggest and most influential multiplayer shooters of this generation. It took the tactical FPS framework of the single-player Rainbow Six games, and it added elements of hero shooters like multiple characters, all with their own unique strengths and weaknesses, and after a few months of updates, it had begun its comeback, and today, you already know. I think it was the best FPS game to come out in 2015. Now we arrive at 2016. No-brainer for me. Doom. I don't think anybody expected this game to be this good, let alone be one of the best games of the year, honestly. It completely revived the franchise. It brought back happy memories of when shooters were simpler. No cover, no reloading, no sprinting, just you, a whole bunch of guns, a whole bunch of demons, and a lot of secrets. Doom 2016 was a masterpiece, and it largely helped kickstart the revival of boomer shooters, which I am okay with. 2017, Prey. Now, the original Prey flew under the radar despite being a really good game, so Bethesda decided to give the concept one more try with Prey 2017. Now, this was another game that nobody expected to be good, let alone great. It took elements of FPS, RPG, stealth, Metroidvania, and it mixed them all together in this weird, awesome sci-fi package. Plus, because of the multiple endings and the deep gameplay, it's designed to be played over and over. It's awesome. It's worth a look if you missed out on it because it always seems to fly under the radar. 2018, we're almost caught up. Far Cry 5. Now, Far Cry has always stood out as one of the best open-world franchises in the Ubisoft library, right? It brought the action to the US, told a story about a creepy doomsday cult, all while giving us some of the most expansive Far Cry gameplay to date. There was so much to do in this game, and the shooting, it felt good. Far Cry 6 has some big shoes to fill, but if it's even remotely on Far Cry's level, Far Cry 5 that is, I think we're going to be in good hands. 2 left, guys. 2019, we're not going to do 2021 because the year's not over yet. Apex Legends. Now, 2019 was a really good year for video games, but there weren't a whole lot of first-person shooters. However, the main standout for the year, it had to be Apex, which was a surprise Battle Royale spinoff from Titanfall that was free to play out the gate and super unique compared to other games. It had a much longer time to kill, heavy emphasis on movement, a cast of characters that brought elements of hero shooters in the mix. It is bigger than ever, and I don't think it's going anywhere. And now we get to 2020. I have to go with Doom Eternal. Yeah, the sequel. I mean, it had the world against it. After the surprise success of Doom 2016, people were worried over whether or not ID Software would be able to keep the ball rolling, but guess what? They killed it. Doom Eternal greatly expanded upon the first game's gameplay. It added more weapons, more enemies, the ability to mix and everything. A new multiplayer mode. It's widely considered to be the best shooter of the year, and some even called it one of the best shooters ever made. Let me know if you agree. And there you have it, a trip over the last 20 years, the best FPS title of every single year. If you guys would like to see this done with third-person titles or RPGs, you let me know. Thank you for all the support. If you made it to the end of the video, seriously, you are a true supporter. I appreciate all of you.